Good day to everyone, and this is GATE 2020. So let us solve the first question. A single 50 Hz synchronous generator on a droop control. Okay, 50 Hz synchronous generator on droop control was delivering power 100 megawatt power to system. Okay, 100 megawatts. Due to increase in load, the generator power had to be increased by 10 megawatt. Okay, so this was P1. P2 is 110 megawatt. As a result, system frequency dropped. Okay, so now the system frequency is F2. F1 was 50 hertz, so F2 is 49.75 hertz. Now P3 further increase in load in the system resulted in a frequency. Okay, so now again load is increased. I don't know how much, and this time the frequency came out to be 49.25 hertz. Okay, so I have to find out the power in megawatt at this condition. At this condition, I have to find the power in megawatts. Okay, so that means that I have to find this P3. Okay, so let us draw the droop characteristics. On this axis it is power, and on this axis it is frequency. Okay, so I hope you know the droop characteristics of any generator. It is like this. So now here they have given us 2 points. What 2 points they have given? They have given this point and this point. That is at 50 hertz it is 100 megawatts. So let us say it is 50 and here it is 100 megawatts. Power is in megawatts. Another point is given to us as 110 megawatts. Okay, 110 megawatts, and this time the frequency is decreased and frequency is 49.75. Okay, so these 2 points are given to us. Which 2 points? This point and this point. Now he is asking us to find the P3 for this much frequency. That is, our P3 will be somewhere here. Because the power is increased, then only the frequency is reduced. So this is your P3 and this is your 49.25 hertz. Okay, so frequency is in hertz. So now you have to find this P3. So simple, it has now become a straight line equation problem. So what you have to do is you just have to write down the equation of this line. So I hope you know this formula for equation of any line, y minus y1, when 2 points are given to us, y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1 into x minus x1, where x1 comma y1 is 1 point. Let me say this point is your x1 comma y1 and this point is your x2 comma y2. So now you just have to put the values. So you will get your y is p minus y1 is what? 50. Your slope y2 is 49.75 minus 50 divided by x2 is 110 minus 100 into x minus x is what? Your okay, y is frequency. Okay, on y-axis it is frequency and on x-axis it is power. P minus y1 is x1 is 100. Okay, so in above equation you just have to put the frequency as 49.25 hertz, then it will give you what? It will give you P3. Okay, so just put this in this equation. So on putting 49.25 in this equation, the P3 will come out to be, I'm directly writing the answer, it will come out to be 130 megawatt. Okay, so this you can solve. Okay, so this is the answer, 130 megawatts. Okay, so this question is over. so now let us move to the next question. GATE 2020. A 3-phase 50 Hz 4-pole induction motor. 3-phase 50 Hz 4-pole induction motor runs at no load. Okay, it is running at no load and with a slip. Okay, slip at no load is given to us as 1%. Okay, it's given in percentage, so you have to convert it into fractions. It will be 0.01. 1 by 100 is 0.01. With full load, the slip increases to 5%. Okay, when it is running at full load, the slip at full load is 0.05. Now he has asked the percentage speed regulation. Okay, so if you don't know the concept, then you can visit the links in the description. So percentage speed regulation is given by speed at no load minus speed at full load divided by speed at full load. Okay, so here now one thing strikes in my mind is here they have given the slips at no load and full load. Okay, so you just have to calculate the no load and full load speeds and then you can put in this formula. But to calculate the no load and full load speed from the slip, you need the synchronous speed. See how I know the slip formula is. See, the first step is whatever you read in the question, you start writing any formulas related to it. Okay, then the strategy strikes in your mind. So slip is ns minus nr by ns. So at full load, at no load, first we will take at no load. S no load is equal to ns minus speed at no load divided by ns. So what it will come out to be, see from this formula, nr means that is the motor speed, that is the rotor speed, same as the motor speed. So nr, if you calculate from this equation, it will come out to be sns minus ns is equal to minus nr. So nr will be equal to ns 1 minus s. Okay, so this is the formula we will use here. So slip at no load, speed at no load can be written as using the below formula, ns into 1 minus slip at no load. Okay, similarly speed at full load can be written as ns into 1 minus slip at full load. Okay, so now you just have to put things in speed regulation formula. Okay, n at no load is ns 1 minus s nl minus nfl, that is ns 1 minus s fl divided by nfl. Nfl is what? ns 1 minus s fl. So in this equation you just put the values of snl and sfl. Ns will cancel out, so you will get the percentage speed regulation. Okay, so I will solve it. I will put the values. See, ns will cancel, so what it will be, 1 minus 0.01 minus 1 minus 0.05 divided by 1 minus 0.05. Okay, so on solving this, what you will get is percentage speed regulation as 4.21%. Okay, don't forget it to multiply by 100. So you will get your final answer as 4.21%. Okay, so this is how this question is solved. Okay, so now let us move to the next question. GATE 2020. A 3-phase cylindrical rotor synchronous generator has a synchronous reactance XS, okay, and a negligible armature resistance, okay. The magnitude of per phase terminal voltage is VA and magnitude of per phase induced EMF is EA. Okay, so the terminal voltage and the excitation EMF, okay, these are given. Now it is asking for any 3-phase balanced leading load connected across the terminals VA is always more than EA. And the next one is for any three-phase balanced lagging load. Okay, VA is always less than EA. Okay. See here the things are asked about the relation between the VA and EA. Okay, so one thing strikes to my mind is it is the comparison between the terminal voltage and the excitation voltage or the no load voltage. Okay, so the voltage regulation thing comes to my mind. Okay, so I hope you know the voltage regulation curve. Uh, this side it is what it is lagging, and this side it is leading. Okay, and your voltage regulation is on this axis. So it is positive here and it is negative here. So now the curve for the synchronous machine is given by something like this. Okay, I will draw it more beautifully. The curve of the synchronous okay, the voltage regulation curve is somewhat like this. See now here, see the voltage regulation is what? Let me write down the relation of voltage. Voltage regulation is voltage at no load, that is EA, minus VA divided by VA. Okay, so now here I can easily see when EA greater than VA, VR is what? Positive. When EA less than VA, VR is negative. Okay, so this much thing we get. Now let us read these statements. For any three-phase balanced leading load, okay, leading load, the terminal connected across the terminals of the synchronous generator, VA is always more than EA. Okay, so now he is saying that VA is always more than EA. That what he's trying to say, VA is that is VR is always negative. He is asking me that in the case of leading load, whether this case follows, that is VA greater than EA follows. So voltage regulation is negative. See, voltage regulation is negative in this region. So in this region, voltage regulation is negative. Now, but he is asking that for leading load. Okay, see, for leading load in this region, the voltage regulation is positive. Okay, so that means that EA is greater than VA. So that is why what your this statement is wrong. Okay, so I hope you get this. Now for any three-phase lagging load, okay, so lagging load means this side, the VA is always less than EA. Okay, VA is always less than EA means that is voltage regulation is VA is less than EA. That means voltage regulation is always positive. So yes, for lagging loads, the voltage regulation is always positive. See here, the voltage regulation is always positive voltage regulation, or I can write it in this fashion: EA greater than VA, and for this region, your again EA greater than VA, and your this region voltage regulation, so EA less than VA. So I hope you get the total understanding. So this statement is true. Okay, so now the correct option is P is false and Q is true. Okay, so that is the concept for this question. Okay, GATE 2020. A single phase 4 kVA this transformer with laminated CRGO steel core has rated no loss of 450 watts. Okay, so for a 200 by 100 volts 50 hertz transformer, I am given the iron losses. No load losses are iron losses only. 450 watts. Okay, when the high voltage winding is excited, so let us say this is case 1. Now case 2 is when high voltage winding is excited by 160 volts, okay, and the frequency is 40 hertz. The no load losses are again given to me as 320 watts. Okay, 320 watts. When the high voltage winding of the same transformer is supplied from 100 volts, okay, so again case 3 is given to me. When 100 volts, okay, 25 hertz, the no load losses will be this. I have to find out. Okay, so in every iron loss question, one thing you should remember that you first have to check the V by F ratios. Okay, so here we are exciting the high voltage winding, so here also we will consider the high voltage winding voltage. Okay, so don't confuse in this thing. Okay, so check for this. V by F is 200 by 50, it is 4. Here 160 by 40, it is 4, and here 100 by 25, it is 4. So V by F is same. So since V by F is same, Pi is composed of two losses. One is hysteresis loss, which since V by F is same, then pH is directly proportional to what? F. And pH is hysteresis loss, and PE, that is the eddy current losses, are directly proportional to F square. So this is the thing. So now you can write your iron losses as Pi is equal to pH plus PE, where you can write pH as KHF and PE as KEF square. Okay, so this is your ultimate statement formula for this question. So now one thing I have got, that I have been given these two cases to find out this KH and KE value, and then I can put this KH and KE value in this case. Okay, so I will get my total iron losses. Okay, so using case 1, what you will get is the equation will become 450 watts is the iron loss is equal to KH into 50 plus KE into 50 square. So this is your equation 1. Your next equation will be 320 is equal to KH into frequencies, this time is 40, plus KE 40 square. Okay, and this is KE, and this is your second equation. Okay, so on solving 1 and 2, find KE, okay, and KH. So on solving this, your KH is come out to be 4 and KE comes out to be 0.1. Okay, so you can easily now find out the for case 3. So now for case 3, your iron losses will come out to be KH is 4 times 25 plus 0.1 into 25 square. So your answer will come out to be Pi is equal to 162.5 watts. Okay, so this is the answer. Since it is asking two decimal places, so put 0, 162.50 watts. Okay, so that is how this question is solved. Okay, so the only trick is that in RN losses questions, you just have to check the V by F ratios. Okay, so now let us see this question. GATE 2020. A cylindrical rotor synchronous generator with constant real power output. Okay, the real power output is constant and constant terminal voltage is supplying 100 ampere current to 0.9 lakh power factor load. Okay, 100 ampere current to 0.9 lakh power factor load. An ideal reactor is now connected in parallel to the load, as a result of which the total lagging reactive power is twice. Okay, so the reactive power requirement has become twice the previous value. Okay, and the real power remains unchanged. The armature current is now, okay, what we have to find the armature current. Okay. So just grasp this question step by step, what he's asking and what is given to us. Okay, so first it is given synchronous generator and constant real power output. Okay, so here there might be a case. Power for any three-phase machine is root 3 VLIL cos phi, and he is saying that it is constant, and he is also saying that VL is also constant. Okay, so the only thing for us to worry is this, the current and the power factor. Now he is saying that supplying 100 ampere current. Okay, so the current is also given for case 1. Okay, so case 1 is IL is 100 amps and your cos phi is 0.9. Okay, so now what he's saying that an ideal reactor is now is connected and the Q is doubled but real power is unchanged. Okay, so let me say for case 1 your real power is P. Real power is P and reactive power is Q. Okay, uh, yes. Okay, so now now this was the case 1. Okay, in case 2 what he is saying is that I have to find this armature current and the power factor also I need to find out. Let me mark them IL2, and here the real power is same P, but the reactive power is changed to 2Q. Okay, so this is the question given to me. See, now one thing is click in my mind is that this data is given to me and there might be some purpose. So see the power factor general expression. I hope you know the power triangle. One thing is clear, this is your power factor angle, this is your Q, this is your P, and this is your S. Okay, so from case 1, phi is equal to cos inverse 0.9. Okay, so cos inverse 0.9, let me calculate. Phi is equal to 25.84. Okay, see, whenever there is asking of two decimal places, so you just must keep your answers while calculating up to 3 decimal places and finally report the answer in terms of 2 decimal places. Okay, it doesn't matter much, but yeah, you will be falling in the range. So phi is given to us as this much for case 1. Now in case 2 what happens? Now in case 2 your see the power factor expression I should tell you. See, uh, okay, it's not much needed, but yeah, now in case 2 what is happening, See, this phi is equal to, yeah, I should write it as 10 phi is equal to q by p. Okay, so phi is equal to 10 inverse q by p. Okay, now let us see in case 2. In case 2, what he is saying that p is same and but the reactive power is doubled. Okay, so here I can say that 10 phi 2 is equal to 2q by p. Okay, so how I am getting this? See, it was p same, but this time this has become 2q, and this is your phi 2 and this is your s2. Okay, so that is the logic. Now 10 phi 2 is 2 into q by p. Q by p is 10 phi, and 10 phi is 0.484 into 2, so it will come out to 0.9686. Okay, so your phi 2 is 44.087 degrees. Now your cos phi 2 is 0.718. Okay, so you have find out this one. Now you just have to put this all in this equation. Root 3 VL IL1 cos phi 1 is equal to root 3 VL IL2 cos phi 2. Okay, why I am doing this? Because here it is written the constant real power output. Okay, so I am taking a new page. Okay, so or you will cancel the root 3 VL IL1 into cos phi 1 is equal to root 3 VL IL2 into cos phi 2. Okay, so root 3 VL will cancel out. IL1 is given to us as what? IL1 is given to us as 100. Cos phi 1 is 0.9. IL2 I have to find out, and cos phi 2 I have found out previously. It is 0.718. Okay, so on solving this, you will get your IL2. What you will get? 100 into 0.9 divided by 0.718. 125.34. 125.34 degrees. See in answer key, in official answer key, the answer is 125.29 amps. Okay, so this is amps, sorry. Okay, so there might be some silly calculation round or anything. Just check it out, but your answer is 125.29 amps. Okay, so this is how this question need to be solved. 125.29 amps. Okay, gate 2020. Windings ABC have 20 turns each. Okay, and are wound on the same iron core. Okay, this is important. So this will help us to calculate the net flux. Okay, see, when you are winding on the same iron core, the flux in the core is same. Okay, so the flux to the windings is also same. Okay, so the proportion in which the flux is there, okay, in the same proportion the voltage per turn is induced. Okay, So that is the thing. So it will be much clear if I solve this. So the figure shows the sense of clockwise and anti-clockwise, okay, of each of the windings. A windings ABC are supplied with these balanced loads, okay, balanced sources, voltages. The no load RMS voltage across the X we have to find out. Okay, so this we have to find out. See, in this question, okay, so first we have to find the net fluxes in which direction, okay. So let us take this winding, okay. So for this thing you have to use your right hand and you have to curl your fingers in the direction of current, and your thumb will show the direction of the flux, okay. So that is the logic, just use your right hand, okay. So here first let me mark the current direction. See, for a winding the current will come in the back and will flow in this fashion, okay. So for this winding I will curl my fingers in the direction of current and my thumb is going downwards, okay. So the flux is in this direction, phi A. Now for B winding, let me mark the direction of current, okay. It will be in this fashion. So now if I curl my fingers in the direction of current, so my thumb is pointing upwards. So this is your phi B. Now for C winding, let us show the current directions. Okay, so now I will curl my fingers. So my phi C is in this direction. Okay, so it will be in this fashion. So this is your phi C. So your net flux phi net can be written as phi B plus phi C, as these are in the same direction, minus phi A. Okay. So this is your net flux. Now see, now why this was important, because the voltage per turn is induced according to the fluxes only, okay. Uh, the voltage per turn I will is according to the flux, and the voltage per turn will be same in every winding, okay. So if I calculate the voltage per turn, then I can calculate, then I will multiply it by 2 to get the voltage Vx. Let us say this is Vx, okay. So that is the overall criteria. See, the formula for transformer is V is equal to 4.44 N phi F, okay. So see, the voltage per turn, that is V by N, is equal to 4.44 phi F. Okay, so F is constant, 4.44 is constant. So it is directly proportional to your flux thing. Okay, so that is the meaning. See, if the flux is constant in the core, that is the same iron core, means that the flux is same in for every winding. So the voltage per turn will be also same for every winding. So we have to find the net voltage per turn. So this we can find out, as voltage per turn will vary according to the flux that is varying. So flux directions are given by this. The net flux is given by this. So V by N net. So V by N net will be given by this thing only. Phi B is VB by NB. Phi C is VC by NC. Minus phi A is VA by NA. Okay. So VB by NB is 230 by NB. Let each turn as 20 turns. Okay. And it is 230 at an angle 0. Okay. Don't forget it. Okay. VB is 230 at an angle minus 120 plus VC. VC is 230 at an angle 120 divided by 20 minus VA 230 at an angle 0 divided by NA is 20. Okay, so on solving this, what you will get will minus 23. So your Vx will be minus 23 into 2, as there are two turns. So here this minus sign indicates just the polarity. So your magnitude, that is the no load RMS voltage, will be 23 into 2, that is 46 volts. Okay, so that is the logic. Okay, GATE 2020. Okay, in the figure below, the per phase open circuit characteristics and short circuit characteristics, okay, of a 14 kVA, okay, delta connector alternator, okay, 1500 rpm, okay. The field current IF is measured in amps. Reading taken are marked as respective x, y coordinates in the figure, okay. The ratio of the unsaturated and the saturated synchronous impedance we have to find out, okay. See, this is the nice question. Just you need to see, it's directly given that ZS unsaturated and ZS saturated you have to find out, and then you have to calculate their ratios. See, now one thing, if you don't know the concept, then you should visit the links in the description. Okay, so I'm just directly tackling the question. See, the saturation region, as we can observe from the figure, is this thing. Okay, so this is your saturation region. Okay, and your this area is, you can say it as unsaturated. Okay, so now the beautiful thing is, okay, so see, now let us first take the saturation case. Saturation case. Okay, see, for the saturation, your field current is what? 8. Okay, your IF is 8, and see, I am approximating because this point is only given for this region, so I am taking IF is equal to 8. Okay, so that's why it's given that you have to find the is closest to. Okay, so that is the region. So IF is equal to 8. So now for the saturation region also, your VOCC is 400 by root 3. Okay, so that we all know. Now your the slope of this line, that is the short circuit characteristic, is slope. Yeah, I should mark it like this. Slope is what? 20 by 4, that is 5. Okay, so now for the saturated reactance, I hope you should know this, that ZS saturated is given by VOCC by root 3 divided by KIF. Okay, this K is the slope of the short circuit characteristics, and this IF is what? The field current for the saturated region. Okay, and VOCC is already given to me, that open circuit voltage as 400 volts. Okay, so just you have to put the values, and your K is the slope, that is 5 into IF is 8. Okay, so it will come out to be 14 to 10 by root 3. So this is your ZS saturated. Okay, so one thing we have found out. Okay, next thing is ZS unsaturated. Okay, see, ZS unsaturated, first you have to see what you will take your IF. So let us say we are taking this point only. Okay, so generally we operate the alternator just before the saturation. So this is the most feasible point according to the question given to me and according to the data given to me. So your IF is equal to see 2. Okay. Your ZS unsaturated IF is equal to 2. Okay. So your ZS unsaturated is VOCC by root 3 divided by ISC. So see, now here you cannot say VOCC is some constant value, that is here it is 400. So what you will do is you will what will be the VOC will be varying as a function of IF. Okay, so it will be a straight line equation. So you write the equation of this line. Okay, so you write the equation of this line. Okay, so on writing the equation of this line, what you will get is let me write down the equation. Two points are already given to me, so I will take y is VOCC minus 110 is equal to 210 minus 110 divided by 2 minus 1 into IF minus VOCC minus 100, IF minus 1. Okay, so what it will come out to be? VOCC will come out to be 210 minus 110, 100 IF minus 1 plus 110. So your VOCC will come out to be 100 IF plus 10. So for IF is equal to, see, for unsaturated IF is equal to 2. Your VOCC for unsaturated will come out to be 100 into 2 plus 10, that is 210 volts. Okay, so your VOCCs come out this. Now you just have to apply this relation. Okay, so for unsaturated region, your ISC is equal to KIF. Here your K is 5 and your IF is 2, so it will be 10. So your ZS unsaturated will come out to be VOCC by root 3 divided by KIF unsaturated. It's all about unsaturated. It's unsaturated is equal to VOCC. I have calculated 210 by root 3 divided by KIF, that is 10. So it will be 21 by root 3. Okay, so the ratio was between ZS unsat and ZS sat. So ZS unsaturated divided by ZS saturated will be equal to, ZS saturated is 10 by root 3 plus 21 by root 3. Okay, so it will be equal to 2.1. Okay. So the answer is 2.1. Okay. So that is how this question is solved. You just have to remember the basic concepts of ZS saturated and ZS unsaturated, and if you don't know, then you can visit the links in the description. Okay, so let us move to the next question. 250 volt DC shunt motor. Okay, 250 volt DC shunt motor. Okay, armature resistance 0.2 ohms and a field resistance 100 ohms. When the motor is operated on no load at rated voltage. Okay, when motor is operated at no load at rated voltage, it draws V no load is equal to 250 volts. Okay, as it is rated voltage, it draws an armature current. I no load is 5 amps and speed at no load is 1200 rpm. Okay, so this much data is given to me for no load. Now when a load is coupled. Okay, so this was the data for no load. Okay, so now he is saying that when loaded condition, it draws a total line current. Okay, it was the armature current. Okay, always remember this was the armature current, and here it is saying I line. Okay, and this is a shunt motor as 50 amps at rated voltage. Okay, 250 volts with a 5% reduction in air gap flux due to armature reaction. Okay, so phi, let us say that at no load it is phi NL. So phi at load is it with a 5% reduction. Okay, so it is like 95%, 0.95 phi NL. Okay, the voltage drop across the brushes. Okay, V brush is given to us as 1 volt for one brush. Okay, it's a how many pole machine? The speed of the motor in RPM under this condition. Okay, so I have to find the speed at this loaded condition. Okay, so see, in such questions you first draw the circuit diagrams and then things will become much more clearer. Okay, don't try to analyze everything in your brain, just just try to move your pen a little bit. So it is a DC shunt motor. Okay, so DC shunt motor, let me draw the diagram. This is your shunt winding, this is your DC shunt motor. Now let me say this is a back EMF E. So what he is saying, at no load. Okay, so that is at no load, the armature current is given to us. Okay, so you remember it's given armature current, that is this current, it's a motor, so it will absorb a current, is given to us as 5 amps. Your voltage applied is 250 volts, and RSH I know, yeah, field resistance I know as 100 ohms. Okay, so I can calculate the current in the field. It will be 250 by 100, that is equal to 2.5 amps. Okay, so it is taking line current of 5 plus 2.5, that is 7.5 amps. So this is the case for the no load. Okay, now let me take the case for the at this loaded condition. So here it is again a DC motor, same DC motor, and this is your field winding. Okay, so here now he is saying that the line current is 50 amperes. Okay, so see a difference. Here it is given line current is 50 amperes he is drawing. Now we know that it's again at the rated voltage, that is 250 volts. So this field resistance we know as 100 ohms. So I will be same as this thing, that is the field current is 2.5 amps. So the current here will be in the armature will be 47.5 amperes. Okay, so that is our armature current. Now here will be your E. Okay. See, now one thing strikes to my mind. He is asking again. I have told you many times, and you can see also. If you don't know that these equations, you should always remember for any motor. E is equal to K phi n and torque is equal to K phi I. So in this problem, I require this E is equal to K phi n. How can I say that? See, now both E1, let me say this is E1, let me say this is E2. E1 and E2 are unknown. I have been given the relation between the flux for the no load and the flux for the loaded conditions, and I have the speed at no load also, that is 1200 rpm. So one thing I don't know is only this speed at the loaded condition, so that I can easily find out. Okay, just have first step is I have to find this E1 and E2. Okay, so this is the case for loaded. So now let me mark this case 1 and let me mark this as case 2. Okay, so let us see the things. Okay, so the case 1, if we write the KVL and the motor loop, and I hope you know this, so it will be 250 is equal to 5 into RA is 0.2, yeah, 5 into 0.2 plus E1. Okay, so your E1 will come out to be 250 minus 1, that is 249 volts. 2 by 10, 5 to, okay, so your E1 is 249 volts. Okay, similarly for case 2, 250 is equal to, what is the armature current? In the case 2 it is 47.5 amps. 47.5 into 0.2 RA plus E2. So E2 will come out to be, let me calculate, 47.5 into 0.2 is 9.5. 250 minus answer 240.5. So E2 will come out to be 240.5 volts. Okay. Now you know the relation E is equal to K phi n. Okay, so E1 by E2 is equal to phi. One is like your no load by phi L loaded into N no load into N loaded. So E1 is the no load case and it is the load case. Okay, so E1 is 249 divided by 240.5 is equal to phi NL by phi L. I have already taken out the relation. Phi L is equal to 0.95 phi NL. Okay, so phi L is equal to 0.95 phi NL. Into NL is 1200 rpm. It is given to me. Yes, 1200 rpm divided by NL, that I have to calculate. Okay, so my NL comes out to be 1 upon 0.95 into 1200 into 240.5 divided by 249. So it will come out to be 1200 into 240.5 divided by 0.95 into 249. So the NL will be equal to 1220. Okay, I make a big blunder here. There will be the brush voltage also drop. So our DC shunt motor. Okay, so there is also given 1 volt brush voltage drop. Okay, so there we assume that there are at least 2 brushes. Okay, so that is our assumption. So here we will also add these drops also. Okay, so it will come out to be, okay, so you have to add these brushes drop also. So it will come out to be 247 volts minus 2 here, and so here it will come out to be 238.5 volts. So if you put them here, E1 will be equal to 247, E2 will be equal to 238.5. So if you put it in this expression, then you will get 238.5 divided by 247. So on solving this, 230.5 into 1200 divided by 0.95 into 247. So it will come out to be 1219.68. Okay, so you will round it off to higher integer value 1220 RPM. So this is the answer. Okay, so don't forget to add these brush voltage drops. See why I have assumed 2 brushes here. For wave winding, your brushes are equal to 2. Okay, so that is why I have assumed. Okay, otherwise if poles were given, then there must have been some information regarding the lap winding or something. So the most feasible assumption is the 2 brushes. Okay, so your answer will be P here. Okay, so this is all about the GATE 2020 machines questions, and please thank you for watching, and please like, share, subscribe, and please visit the links in description if you are having some problem. Okay, so thank you. Have a good day.